But my dad had this uncanny ability to recognize things that were going on around him and apply it into surfboard. So the sting came from a hydroplane speedboat. He was watching a boat race and noticed that when the boats came to a turn, all the other boats were slowing down, but the hydroplane was able to excel and cut the corner sharp. What allowed it to do that was the cutaway in the hull, which my dad was like, oh, if I did that to a board, it should be able to do the same thing. So my dad went back, shaped the first one, and then gave it to Larry Bertelman. The first spot that he surfed it at testing it was this spot called Lighthouse at Diamond Head. And my dad gave it to Larry. Larry went out of the water. My dad's walking back up the hill for a better vantage point to watch, and just recognized how Larry was able to like pivot so fast on the single fin. And he was like, oh, Larry's stinging the wave. And he's like, oh, that's it. It's a sting. I'm going to start off with, oh shit, wait, a sting. Oh, it feels so good. Oh, those wings are on point. Oh shit, I shaped it.
Really? No, like how?
So I was having this conversation with one of my team riders, and I was like, wouldn't it be funny if there was like a freaking like, I don't know, like a sub-driver sting or something like that? And as soon as I said it, I was like, oh, that'd be sick. So I hit up Matt like instantly, and he got back to me like in seconds. He's like, yeah, let's do it. It's on. We tried to stay as true as we could to the design that it already had, but just using the wing as a design element addition. So we went back and forth designing, went back to the computer, made some changes. We did that for a couple hours until we came out with the first one. And they were like, oh yeah, this is going to be on. Performance aspect, as simple as it can be put, it creates an earlier pivot. So it's going to turn faster and sharper than your average board. Anytime you break the outline of the board design, you have a release. Typically on a board, that's where the bump is or where the tail is. But with the sting, it moves the reaction almost a third of the way up the board. So it's going to be almost intuitive to what you're doing. Your bottom turning, it's already thinking of the next move. It's not like I just threw our wing on it and it was good. We did that at first, and then we're like, oh, well, maybe we need to make it smaller. Because the idea was to keep as true as we could to Matt's outline. Because obviously you put a wing in it, it changes it completely, right? So we decided together to minimize the size of the sting, which aside from my wing twins, or what we call swing that's in between a sting and a wing, whole nother conversation. This wing's never been that small for stings. So that is a very specific thing to the collab board, is the size of the wing. I even had to make adjustments on how I do the flute on it, because it's usually much bigger and much easier to do. Like this tuck under is a little further tucked under to kind of keep this edge closer to line with the tail edge. And it was super rad, like spending time in his zone with his boys and like just being a part of the Lost family and getting this thing going. There's a lot of history down there in San Clemente for us as well. So just like this board, just like this airbrush, the sting is going to catch fire. Watch. If you watch.